Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday?
Wednesday.
I had this moment this morning of, what day is it?
It's such a
Holidays
weird
during the
week.
week are so weird.
It really has thrown us off. So we took a week off of content kind of on accident. We had plans, and, well,
We just didn't really do them. We didn't want to. I don't know. We needed a vacation, I think.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we went camping for several days, and I think we all just came home dead. And
Mhm.
yeah, but plus I had
Seems
kids
like
in town
there's-
until today, and yeah.
Yeah,
However, we had a marvelous camping trip.
we did. Had so much fun.
Oh my gosh, the weather was so beautiful. It was just nice. Like, it's not uncommon here, by the 4th for us to be nearing 100 and getting pretty warm. We're not even close to that. It's gorgeous. It was wonderful. And we camped in a spot that had a lot of shade, so we set up well, ladder ball. We call it testicle toss, but ladder ball and
We do.
cornhole.
You knew we would. I mean, come
Hmm.
on, guys. You know
Yep,
us.
for sure. And
If it's
cornhole. We were able to,
inappropriate,
like,
we're going to say it.
oh, of course. We set it up in the shade. We had multiple tournaments. We just had a blast. It was super, super fun.
It really was. And I, for once, actually prevailed a little bit in the sporting events, which doesn't really happen a lot these days.
You did.
But I did pretty dang well in testicle toss, I will just say.
You really did. You tossed those testicles. You did.
I did toss the testicles.
It
Hot
was
damn.
yeah, it was awesome. However, we really screwed up. We
did?
came home too soon.
We did.
We came
We
home
missed
on
the moon.
Monday, which was the dumbest thing in the world because the reason we usually camp over the 4th is to get our dogs out of town because they get so
Right.
upset by the fireworks. But coming on a Tuesday this year and work and just life, it made more sense. So we came home. Oh my God, my dogs were so upset last night. It was so awful. I will never do that again.
Yeah. Mine actually did okay.
Did they?
I was
Good.
kind of impressed because usually they are more scared because we had fireworks until 2 o'clock this morning,
We
probably.
did too. Yeah.
I genuinely wanted to go murder somebody. I didn't get much sleep because what the
Mhm.
hell, man? What is with people and fireworks? What is with Americans and fireworks?
The mortars that are just absolutely shaking our neighborhood.
Yeah,
Why?
really big, loud was
Mhm.
obviously illegal. They're all over.
Mhm.
I heard one during the day today that I was like, really?
Right.
And the police
Why?
they can't even they can't possibly keep up. They won't even try. Calling the
Oh,
police station,
no,
nothing.
gosh. No. And yeah, it just my nerves were shot too by the time yeah, we went to bed, but it was still going on, yeah, after 2 and it was just worse this year. I felt like the noise was worse. We
Mhm.
had all of the fans going. We watched loud movie, well, a few loud movies, just trying to keep the noise down. But
Yeah.
man, you guys, oh, it was rough. It was rough. So anyway, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I don't know what it's going to be like tonight, but I would imagine it's going to still be
That's the thing.
something.
It's not like it's over because
No.
here, um, a very common holiday is Pioneer Day, which is July 24th,
Hmm.
which means that the fireworks just keep on going because that is
Yeah.
also a fireworks day.
Hmm.
So we get no break this month, and
No.
it pisses me off. And if you post anything about it in any of the local community groups or anything, people are
Hmm.
such dicks about it. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Their rights, don't you know? Like,
Mhm.
fine, then do fireworks on the 4th of July. Do them until a reasonable time of night and then knock it off.
Yeah, and
Like,
then just be done for hell's sake.
yeah, hate it. I hate it.
I know.
Yeah. It's just really I can totally understand picking up some fireworks and doing them with your kids in the front yard. I can on the 4th. I can understand, the even though the municipal shows, God, I wish they'd move to drones.
Right? The drones are so cool. Have you all watched the
Yeah.
drone shows?
Yeah.
And that big cool dome thing in Las Vegas?
Mhm.
Bring on that stuff, man. Guess what? No one burns their hands or blows their fingers off or whatever else the hell they're
Mm.
doing, you know?
Well, some people in Idaho Falls last night put their spent fireworks apparently in a trash can, and they were still hot and started a fire.
Several people did.
Yeah.
In Idaho Falls, several
Mhm.
people did. There were so
Yeah.
many call outs from the fire to last night. It just pisses me off. And we're
Oh,
paying
it's
for that.
insane.
I know. I
Yeah.
sound like an old lady. But my taxes pay for that.
My
But it's
kids is
true.
one of my kids' best friends, what their roommate that in the Boise area, he's a firefighter. And they were just out on one like grass fire, lawn fire after another all afternoon on the 4th. And with it on the Monday and then again on Tuesday, just trying to keep up with all the fires that the fireworks were setting. Like,
Yeah.
why do
Ridiculous.
we do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Spirit. Spirit said I tried one firework. It was supposed to be quiet. We ended up screaming and hiding behind the car. Oh no. Oh yeah, Melaleuca puts on a huge fireworks show in Idaho.
We are the home of Melaleuca, right here in Idaho Falls, where I
Mhm.
live.
Yep.
Is where the headquarters are. This is where it was founded. So
Mhm.
they pay a gajillion dollars to do this huge fireworks show. It's this big deal. Like 200,000 people attend it.
Mhm.
This city only has 60,000 people in it, if that tells you how many people come from outside the area.
Yeah.
Um, you've been here, Lindsay? Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, they all feel real good about that. And then there's, the reality.
Mhm. Yep.
And also, welcome, Lindsay, and thanks for becoming a new member, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be seeing soon what we've got coming up for you for that.
Yeah.
Can I also tell you about the thing I learned last night?
What?
Are any of you geriatric pet parents? Because I have been a geriatric pet parent for quite a while. My oldest cat died last summer, and she
Mhm.
was 17. And I had a 13-year-old cat. Now I have another 13-year-old cat, a 9-year-old cat, and 10-year-old dogs. And so, everyone's getting older. Well, my little tweenie Zizi has gotten a little chubby, maybe a lot chubby. Okay.
Mhm.
She's an eating machine.
Yeah.
And apparently, when they get a little chubby, they have some problems with their anal glands. Anybody know about this?
Oh
It's
boy.
extremely unpleasant. And I've been paying to take her to the vet to have this problem taken care of. But I'm like, I'm going to have to do this like every other month. So I was like, okay, I just got to grow up, nut up, and learn how to do it. I did. I did it last night. I evacuated her anal glands, you guys, and it's about as unpleasant as it sounds. But it was really
Mhm.
quick. She immediately stopped scooting around and being bothered by her back end, and it is very much worth doing, clearly to me. But
Ooh.
it was an experience. Let me just say that.
That's a crappy situation. Yep.
Yeah, it is, and she feels bad about it. Like if she gets anything stinky on a
Mhm.
pillow or on the couch or anything, it really bothers her and
Mhm.
upsets her because she knows that she shouldn't be doing that, and not that I get mad at her because it's not her fault, but so it
Mhm.
makes her feel bad. She acts embarrassed. So now just gonna stand her on the bar and do the thing and yep,
Oh.
gloves, mat. Yep, I did the whole thing. I gloved up. I had yeah, I did all of that. And
Well, I
it works really good.
well, that's good.
I did
I
overeat up, Teresa. You're right. I
yes.
overeat up.
I did do it to our Basset Corgi mix once, but it was on accident. Um, I partially closed her in my recliner, and she was just in the right position that it exposed her anal glands, and none of us felt good about it. I'll just say that.
Oh
Horrible.
my
It was
god.
horrible. Yeah, that's all. Well, congratulations. I'm glad. Glad to know that if we're in need of your services, we'll be right over.
Well, I'll be happy to show you.
Oh, it's
And
okay.
Z feels better. Oh, Joy says replace half her food with green beans and she will slim up. It's
She'd
an
eat them.
interesting thought.
She put some butter on them. Wait.
She'd eat them. She'll eat about anything, really. I
She
mean,
will.
that is the problem.
I've never seen a dog who can leap in the air and fly past you and steal food right out of your hand
Or
on
your
her way
mouth
past or your mouth.
or
Yep.
off your plate. Yeah,
Hmm.
she can do this drive-by
I
deal.
think she's done all of those things to me.
She has. Yeah. If we have a barbecue in our backyard, oh man, you are fair game. And that dog can fly, even as heavy as she is.
Mm,
She can still jump really high.
she surprisingly high. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've never seen a more persistent dog in my life
Mhm.
about food. Yeah.
It's probably why she got fat.
Did the recliner bill me for its service? It should have. Oh my gosh. It was awful. Awful. Poor Bluey.
Alyssa, yes, we have heard about the Rudy Farias story, and we are going to be talking about it tonight.
Yeah. Also, yeah. So Tuesday, we get to pick up Mars's puppy.
I cannot wait.
It's time for Nellie to come home. Yep.
Oh, Nelly.
And Mars is going to be traveling, so we're picking her up, and well, we'll just get to have all the fun with her before Mars even gets home. So boo, Mars.
Right? That's so exciting.
And when she calls me demanding pictures, I'm not sending them. Just kidding. I probably
Just
will.
get your ass home.
I'll be posting them everywhere. Yeah.
Right?
Anyway, that's kind of exciting. Yeah. Well, should we get into it? There is
I
a
think that
lot.
we should because there is a lot.
It's an interesting crime week because court itself is quite slow, because
Right.
holiday. But there's still a lot of interesting things going down. Let's start with Nicholas Alaverdian.
Oh, can we please?
I was hoping that by today we would have a ruling because
Right.
the extradition hearing was last week. I think it did wrap up on Friday, but the judge didn't want to rule immediately and said he would like to take a few days. So that's kind of what we're doing right now is just waiting for the judge to finally say, get the hell out. But in the meantime, kind of a new breakthrough in his latest ploy to get some, I guess, sympathy. I don't know. This should offend people right and left. But you see what he's wearing?
He's Jewish now.
He's Jewish now.
He is not Jewish. He actually was Mormon, if you can believe it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
What a jackass. Ah,
Apparently, he has been converting to Judaism, which is fine. You
but
do
did he
you.
really? Or is this
But
just somebody gave him a yarmulke? Like,
supposedly, he has a rabbi who is helping him, which is, again is fine. People are entitled to their spirituality, but it's very hard for me to not see this as yet another ploy to cause chaos in some way. And
right.
here's
He's going
why.
to
Because when he was
claim
on
some
the
religious
stand,
freedoms or something.
exactly. While he was on the stand, he said that he has been subjected in the jail. Remember how terrible the jail has been. They have, saying mean songs to him about getting on a jet plane and,
That's my
otherwise made
favorite one
him
of all of this.
uncomfortable. Yeah. He said, I have been subjected to slurs and been given a ham sandwich for lunch. Well, yeah, because you weren't Jewish up until a minute ago. So,
Yeah. What the hell?
not that he should be subjected to slurs, but again, who knows if that's true
Slurs.
because this is the kind of shit that he says.
I
And,
mean, is it a slur to call him by his actual name? I mean, yeah,
right.
what slur are we talking about
What
here?
actual slur are we talking about? Yep. And let's see, there was something else he said. Some people have asked me if I'm just doing it for the kosher diet, while others say I'm dragging things out and deliberately trying to be obstructive. I
Yes,
find
yes.
that inherently offensive. I have been the victim of abhorrent anti Semitism. Okay,
Oh,
well,
good
I
God.
find that to be offensive and abhorrent
Is
because
he
no,
going to
you
be gay
haven't,
next? Is that where
right?
we're going with this? Also, he's clearly still using his wheelchair that the
Hmm.
doctor has said he does not need, but they haven't taken it from him. He's in a
Right.
power chair. How did
Yeah.
he get that?
Well, more on that as well. So apparently, he did take to the stand. That's what I'm sharing here. But
Hmm.
he, we know that on Wednesday last week, a doctor told the court that he had no medical reason for the oxygen or the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So when he took the stand, he said he never said that he is paralyzed. He said he just doesn't have the stamina to stand or walk. And he can't push himself around in a wheelchair because he doesn't have the stamina and can't lift his arms over his head.
Good God. Jane, we're talking about our dear friend Nicholas Alaverdian,
Hmm.
top of the FOS list at all times.
Hmm.
I know they should take the chair because he's faking it. The doctor's already.
Hmm.
What a creep. It
He
makes
also,
me so mad that he's, you know, lampooning being disabled, lampooning being Jewish. Like, you know,
hmm,
those are actual groups of people who face
yeah.
a lot of discrimination,
Hmm.
jackass.
He also says that he needed a wheelchair for the last 6 years because of 3 separate comas he's been in.
3?
Apparently, it's always something with Nick. Yep.
He was in 1 for COVID, but he's been in 3. I doubt that
Hmm.
a lot.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
So, yeah, he's trying to say anything he possibly can. Yeah, he can't be extradited because of Jewish holidays. He can't be extradited because, you know, in every way it's been unfair. He can't be extradited because he should just be, let go and the whole thing should be dropped because they were treating him with anti Semitism in the prison.
Oh
It's
my
really
God.
hard to keep up. And yes, Jewish people everywhere should be wildly offended by this, uh,
Right? What a jerk.
as should disabled people and anyone else who, you know, has a half a brain that's paying attention to this shit that's had enough.
Right?
So,
Ugh.
but there should be a ruling any day now from the judge, and then the process of extradition should begin. And they
But we
are
don't
still
know where that's
saying
gonna be to yet, right? If he's going
it's
first to London or if he's going to
it's
Utah.
sounding like he's going to be going to Utah. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll see
We're
you
going to
soon.
that hearing.
We'll be there, bud. Unless it's on the 31st of July.
It won't be. This will take way longer than that, right? We
Because
can't
in
miss
which
Lori's
case
sentencing.
we'll be at Lori's sentencing. Yes.
Although
Yeah.
I have jury duty that starts in the middle of July.
Oh no.
No shit. So we shall see. I don't know.
Whew. Hmm. Not great, but we'll accept it. Well, Kristi, talk to us about Alison Mack.
Okay. Alison Mack, if you all remember, she was part of the Nexium sex cult. We've talked about this a few times over the years, but she has served 3 years in prison because she pled guilty to racketeering and conspiracy. So she was kind of a part of the leadership, although she was also a victim in this case. And so I
Mhm.
don't know, I've been a little bit torn about her. Um, it's kind of like some of the girls that were involved in recruiting with Epstein. It's a
Yeah.
similar situation, although she was an adult
Mhm.
and, definitely, she definitely was involved, but she's also definitely a victim. Um, this is Keith Rainier. This was the self help group that he was tattooing all these women
Yeah.
and forcing them to have sex with him and stuff. Uh, she did, however, turn on Rainier and gave a lot of evidence against him, and so she was originally looking at charges that were a maximum of 40 years behind bars. But because of her assistance in the case against Rainier, she didn't get as much. So she has just
Mhm.
served her 3 years and has been released. She is out.
Okay.
I
Interesting.
just hope that she gets the help that she needs. You know,
Mhm.
I can't imagine what her mental health state must be.
Yeah.
And, she did some terrible shit and she had some terrible shit done to her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just kind of feel for her. She really got caught up. Oh,
Yeah.
branding. You're right. Not tattooing, it was branding. Yeah. I
Oh.
think she was actually one of the people doing the branding. It was like
Mm.
on their hip bones. Like it was extremely painful. It was done in a way that was supposed to be sort of a sacrifice in that it would be very painful.
Oh, for God's sake.
So yeah, just awful, awful, awful stuff that happened in Nexium. And Alison Mack has served her time. She did
Mm.
help um, with, turning on Kate Rainier, and now she's served her time. She's
Mhm.
been released.
Wow. Well, hopefully she can put together something better here.
I really hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so for her sake that she can.
A quick note in Chad Doerman. He has been back to court this morning. So this was for a pretrial hearing. It was mostly just procedural stuff. But he does, this is the guy who killed his children. There is a little bit more information, though. So now we know that he actually shot the 4-year-old in the house.
God, my
Initially, we were told that this all happened in the front yard. Apparently, no. He shot Hunter, the 4-year-old, in the house twice. Then he walked outside and shot the 7-year-old son as he was trying to flee. Uh, that was Clayton. Clayton was injured the first time that he was shot, and then he walked up to him and shot him 2 more times. Then he wrestled the 3-year-old out of his mother's arms and shot him.
oh my God.
Uh,
This whole thing, we haven't talked about it um, a lot, mostly because it's
mhm,
just too fucking horrible to talk about. It
yeah.
really is.
Uh, the and he told the police that he had been planning on doing this for months. It was
Premeditated.
premeditated. They announced last week that they are going to seek the death penalty. I can't imagine they don't get it. Uh, After court, the prosecutor said their main goal right now is to have this man executed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
I mean,
community is just so destroyed over it. And the poor mom.
God, how do you come back from something like that? I just,
Yeah. Yeah. Now, apparently, Ohio hasn't actually executed anybody since 2018 because of the struggles with being able to get death penalty drugs, obviously. And the current governor, Mike DeWine, has publicly opposed the death penalty. So they're just kind of not doing them right now. But basically, the prosecutor said at some point there'll be a new governor and he may change things, or, there might be a way to speed things up. And so we're still going for the death penalty, hoping to get it going here because this guy has it coming, is basically what they're saying,
mm,
and hoping to get that. So that's what we know. Their obituary has come out. I just want to read you one little part of it. Clayton, fondly known as Clayton Man, loved making Lego creations, riding his go kart, telling jokes, singing, and laughing while loving his best dog pal, Gatlin. Hunter, fondly known as Hunter Dog, loved going to the creek and catching frogs, and his love of baseball extended beyond the ball field to his bed, an attachment like an extra arm to connect him to his ball and glove as he slept. Chase,
oh,
yeah, fondly known as Chasers, loved swinging on swings and couldn't wait to be a baseball player like his brothers. He loved playing with dinos and pretending to be a superhero. He was the best cuddler, wanting his mama to stay close by and give her many hugs. He will forever be known as Mama's baby.
mm,
The reality
what?
of the mom and the family having to bury these little boys. It's just so unfathomable. So, I mean, this case is not like one that's not solved. I mean, it is solved, and
Right.
while he did plead not guilty, and apparently this is going to have to go clear to trial. Hopefully, it doesn't. Uh,
Right.
what the hell is the point of that?
Right.
He admitted to it when the police came. He Everyone, I mean, there were witnesses, the stepdaughter and the wife, everyone that saw it. Like, there's no question that he did it, and he admitted to doing it. But we have to go through this charade of pleading not guilty and going through this whole court process,
It's
which just
bullshit.
really sucks. Yeah.
It really does.
Right. He said that he'd planned it for months, and then his attorneys are like, well, he just snapped that day. But no, he did not snap that day. He'd been thinking about doing this for a while. So basically, the what led up to it, Cranky, all we know for sure is that the neighbors are saying that, and the stepdaughter are saying that the months that led up to this, he had gotten really grouchy and ornery and was constantly yelling, constantly mad at somebody, just very angry all the time.
But there's more. There has to be
There
more.
has to
Being
be
angry all
more.
the time and murdering your children.
Hmm.
That's a big fucking leap.
Will he go for insanity? I don't know, Colleen. I don't know if Ohio has the insanity plea or not. I didn't look it up.
I
Uh,
don't know. That's possible. They
or
may
or
be
at least
looking at
maybe
some
in
different
sentencing.
things.
Yeah.
Right? Quick, Cranky, does he have a manifesto? Don't they always?
Boy, we haven't heard. Mental breakdown is what we heard in Cincinnati. Uh,
Good to
right. I
know,
mean,
Lindsay.
something has gone terribly wrong.
It
Yeah.
really has. Yeah.
Yeah. But we will continue. Yeah. Well, yes, that's true. The stepdaughter had said that the wife had told him that if he didn't knock it off, she was leaving him. Yeah, for drinking. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep, things were going wrong or had gone wrong, but wow, to the degree of killing all the kids.
Yeah.
The little girl that lived is just, my God, it's a miracle that she lived through it. She
Right.
was running down the street screaming at people, my dad is shooting my brothers.
My God. Ah,
Yeah.
that poor
Yep.
kid. The trauma that.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on this one, of course. He's not due back in court until September, but we'll just keep an eye on it. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Lady Francis agreed. This was spousal abuse. He wanted to make the mother suffer for sure. Yeah.
For
Yep.
sure. I mean, he did it in front of her. How,
Hmm. Yeah.
definitely there was some get back at her.
Hmm. Absolutely. Let's see, Kristi. Tell us about the Wisconsin roller coaster debacle.
Guys, I've always been a little concerned about roller coasters, never been a big fan, not a big heights person. But after hearing this story, I'm forever on roller coasters. So this was at a festival in Wisconsin. This happened on Sunday. There was a mechanical failure in this roller coaster, and 8 people were suspended upside down while they had to fix the roller coaster. Uh,
Jesus.
so yeah, I don't know. I don't ever want to do that again.
Hmm.
I'm never going on when I don't like them anyway. And that was just so they did have people there to try to help get the people off. Um, but they really, it was so high. So like they have like
Yeah.
firefighter ladder trucks and stuff. Um, it was 100 feet. Oh God, I can't even say it. It just freaks me out.
Mm.
They were. This happened. Let's see. The first passenger got to the ground at 3:20 p.m. Central, and this happened. Let's see. They were up there for like 4 hours.
Oh my
Got the last
God.
passenger down at 5:01 p.m. Um, 9 people were treated by EMS, yeah, and 1 was actually transported. They had 10 fire vehicles and 9 ambulances and 50 people from 3 counties there, like with search and rescue and stuff to help get these people out of there.
Yeah.
Um, well, and I,
Good point, Deanna. She said having to hold your bladder that long. I could never.
uh,
Me
right? I
neither.
know, like, oh. Also, this is, I don't know if you guys saw this video. I wish I had it and I don't, but I saw it on social media just a couple of days before this. There was a video of a roller coaster in another state, and you could see in the video that there was a big crack in like one of the beams that holds that thing up as the
Yeah.
cars were going around it. And I just went, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, Joy at Carowinds. That yeah, that some a dad noticed that crack.
Mhm.
Like, just nothing's okay right now. Don't go on roller coasters.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Not worth it at
For
all.
sure. Amy said that roller coasters are not, or Jenny said roller coasters are not fat girl friendly. I just say no. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Agreed.
Yep. Uh
Agreed.
huh.
I've been on a few, but I hate the ones that go upside down. Absolutely hate that. Oh,
Mm,
especially way up in the air. And then, no, absolutely not.
yeah. Not happening. No, thank you.
It still ran for an hour after that.
Yeah.
After they fixed it,
No,
people
no, no, no.
actually.
The one with the crack.
Oh, the one with the crack.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They had a hard time getting the workers to shut it down. They were like, "Yeah,
Holy crap. It'll probably be fine.
yeah, it's probably okay."
I don't know, guys, but if that's not crime, I don't know what is. Yikes.
For sure. Not doing it. Oh, let's talk about Brian Kohberger for just a minute.
If we have to.
There's a lot going on with that case.
Mhm.
It's just every day there's just more. For a case that's gagged, this case is far from gagged.
I know it's interesting. So much more stuff is coming out now.
Uh-huh. The house. So there's been a lot of conversations about the house because the house, the one they call the murder house, that was actually donated to the University of Idaho, and they said they were going to demolish it. And now some of the members of the prosecution, we're starting to go, wait a minute, not so fast. Why the hell would they demolish that house before the trial? Why? It looks to me like they're probably not going to do that. It's kind of a mixed bag. The college was like, "Oh, well, we don't have any plans of doing it soon," and then they were like, "No, we are doing it soon." And now the courts are going, "Well, maybe wait a minute."
Well, and some of the victims' families are like, please don't tear that house down
Yes.
until this trial is over.
Now the
Like,
victims' families are kind of lawyering up and saying this needs to be halted.
yeah,
Why?
right?
Why? First of all, let's just take a quick backtrack in time back to the Murdaugh trial.
Right.
And what a lot of the jurors said after the trial. What sealed the deal for them? It was the trip out to
The
the
crime.
farm, to the property, to the crime scene. It was seeing it with their own eyes to understand what happened.
Yeah.
Now, in that case, hilariously, it was actually the defense that wanted to go out there, and it absolutely lost their case for them. If all
Totally
of their
did.
other bullshit hadn't already, which it probably had. But
Right.
the crime scene is essential. What is going on? So
Yeah. I don't,
now,
well, they were going to tear it down before Kohberger was arrested.
right,
Remember
right,
that? That
yeah,
was kind of a plan, and then he was arrested, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, we probably shouldn't do that." But now I'm like, this is not over."
yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
It is insane. So anyway, hopefully the victims' families can, breathe some sense into the courts here and get this stopped. But I'm just dumbfounded that it's even a conversation about that house.
It's a
Basically,
really
the school, I think, would
strange.
like for the memory of this to be faded just a little bit, you know?
I'm
They'd
sure
like
that
that.
they would, but we
I
cannot
know.
risk not catching the killer here and not
Hmm.
prosecuting him, like,
Yeah.
Come
I
on,
don't care
man.
if they are absolutely a million percent sure that they've gotten everything out of that house they need. That's not the point. The point is until this trial is over, you absolutely cannot tear that house down. It is insane. Yep. Yep, that's my thought, Amy, too. Is this about enrollments? Is this about them wanting to, get that scene out of the off the scene and just turn it into a nice little park so that no one
Mhm.
has to look at it anymore, or what? But
Right. Right. There's a
yeah,
lot of questions about, about that. Is it because if enrollment's down up there, which I've heard it is, and um, just kind of not good.
yeah, yeah. Parkland High School was closed until after the trials. Of course, yeah.
Right.
Irene, maybe the town of Moscow can pull a save our trees and chain themselves to the house. There you go. That's
Maybe
what
they
should
should.
happen.
Right. Right.
Hmm. Terrible, terrible. So hopefully the courts will listen to the families and put a halt to this. That's the hope for sure. There's some whispers of some video of some DNA transfer potentially, things like that coming up. I don't have
Hmm.
enough on that to speak to it today, but that's kind of some conversations that are, in the works. And then
Oh,
the other part, what's that?
I was just going to answer Lindsay really quick because
Yeah.
Chad and Jake, what's his face, the guy from um, Riggins,
Mhm.
have, or not the guy from Riggins. Anyway, can one defense attorney do like two big trials? Yeah, they can, as long as they
Oh
don't
yeah.
overlap. There's nothing that
Mhm.
stops them from doing that.
Yeah.
Don't forget where we are. We don't have that many,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yes, that is a possibility that that should be the case. Wagner, yes, in the Jake Wagner case.
Mhm. Yeah. Uh, there we go. My computer was moving slow. The
Oh,
other thing is that Judge has finally ruled that one of the things that the defense wanted was they wanted some officer training records, and the prosecution refused to turn them over, basically saying we aren't even going to call those officers to the stand, so you don't need them. And the basically the defense was like that's immaterial whether you're going to call them or not. They were deeply involved with this case. We want to see their training records, and we want to know if they were qualified to do the things that they did. And the judge did side with the defense on that, so they do have to turn over those training records. What a silly
they're
thing to fight.
well, but they're going to try to say that this was botched because of an officer that got in some trouble who was a part
Yeah.
of this. And we don't know what the officer did. Like it's all very internal and hush hush.
Hmm.
But they
Yeah.
want to see, was this officer trained to do the right thing? Anyway, it's just
Yeah.
one more way to chip away at this case
Hmm.
that doesn't, that isn't actually proving him innocent, is just, procedural shit
Hmm.
that it's a little scary. I don't
Hmm.
like seeing the police getting impeached like this. It's a little nerve wracking
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
we know that they're new to this kind of a case. They all are.
Right. And we don't know what actually happened there as of yet,
Mhm.
but anyway, but the judge has sided with the defense on that one, so they do have to turn over those training records. That's not uncommon at all.
Right.
It's
Except that, do they have something, did he really screw up some evidence collection or what did he do?
right.
This we
Right.
don't know.
I'm guessing it's a nothing burger that they are just grasping at anything at this point, and that's just kind of
Well, it's
yeah.
their job to
No way I'm
create
with you on
doubt.
that. Yep, create doubt, create chaos.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. Those puppies are in here playing. I don't know if you guys can hear a little growling going on, but
Mm-mm.
they're not sure what they're fighting over. It's probably belongs to me, but
Probably.
let's see, Kristi. Oh, let's talk about the America's Most Wanted suspect that's been arrested.
Guys, this is such good news. So let's talk about Donald Santini. Donald Santini has been on the run for 40 years. This is his uh, mugshot, not mugshot, him in court, I think. I don't know. Anyway, this is him. Maybe it's his mugshot. He had a connection to this woman. Her name is Cynthia Wood. Um, he was he's been charged with her murder that happened in 1984. Cynthia Wood was 33 when she was killed. He has been on the run with 13 different aliases in more than one country. Well, the police have continued to look for him. They actually found him in San Diego, California, where he was working as the president of a water board. Weirdly enough, I think he thought he really had gotten away with it at this point because he was seen publicly in the jobs that he had, and like he wasn't hiding very hard. I think at this point he really thought that he was done.
Yeah.
So at the time that she went missing, and at the time of her murder, she was going through a divorce, and her body was found strangled and left in a canal. And police found out that Santini was the last person to see her alive. So he was their main suspect for 40 years. But he went on the run. He was on America's Most Wanted, the TV show, in 1990, 2005, and 2013.
Wow.
Apparently, the police have gone so far as even Thailand looking for him. He had a previous conviction for rape, and he ran as soon as she was killed. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's not rocket science. But I think it's pretty amazing that they were still looking for him this long after and did find him.
Well, and did it all so quietly.
Yeah, they
So
did. Well,
quietly.
they wanted to be really careful so that they didn't tip him off. So, at least for her family, there is some closure,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's locked up where he ought to be. And who knows what else he has done in those 40 years he was on the run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure getting his DNA in the system will be useful.
Absolutely.
They may
Yes.
find other crimes. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Well, the feds have upped the ante to find this person. Remember this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is the person that is suspected of placing the pipe bombs on Capitol Hill on January 6th, 2021. And they have upped the ante on that now to $500,000 reward
Wow.
for leading to the arrest of this person. There was some information released mid-month last month that makes me think maybe they're getting a little bit closer to finding them. So that's pretty interesting. They're
That is pretty interesting. That's going
really
to be
turning up the
really important
heat
to know who
on
did that.
finding that person. Yeah.
I'm so grateful that they did not go off.
Oh my God.
And why didn't they go off? I don't know. I don't know like why they didn't go off. But
They,
thank God they didn't.
it sounds like they were operable, that they could have. They said that the components made to build them were things that were widely available for purchase in store and online.
Mm,
Threaded galvanized pipes, end caps, kitchen timers, wires, metal clips, and homemade black powder.
mm.
Well, I don't have a clue how you make black powder, but
Well, but you think about our dad and uncles
mhm,
are all black powder hunters.
yeah,
There are definitely people out there who know how to do that.
hmm, yeah.
That's not a hard thing.
But for $500,000, you'd think somebody might decide to roll on
Not
that
saying
person.
not that I'm confusing, not that I'm, accusing them. I'm just saying like, if you have any experience with explosives or with
Yeah.
hunting with black powder rifles or anything
Hmm.
like that, you're going to know.
Yeah. How to do that. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They're really turning up the heat on that. So maybe there'll
I
be an
think that's
answer
great.
there. So we have a DNA for the win, and then we're going to finally get into the Farias case. There's
Oh,
so
I
much to
also
say
have
there.
to talk about the new podcast with some of
Oh,
Lori Vallow's family.
that's correct. Yeah. Well, let's do our DNA for the win.
Okay. So yay, have a DNA for the win. And this is a
Yeah.
crazy one because this is really, really old case. This is a famous cold case from Canada called Nation River Lady. Apparently, this was in Montreal, and this is a very well known case from, and I guess this case has ramifications in Ontario, Quebec, Florida, and Tennessee. So, a woman was found dead floating in the Nation River after being dropped from a bridge. This was on Highway 417 between Montreal and Ottawa in 1975, the year I was born, you guys.
Yeah.
And so this woman has been known as the Nation River Lady ever since.
Mhm.
This is her black and white photo. And then the color photo is like a recreation of
They
her.
they made a bust.
They did, because that's all they had. I mean, until they named her this photo, they didn't have this photo. So
Yeah.
they had a bust of her, just trying to identify her at
Mhm.
least. Um, so not only has her identity been found, but her murderer has
Mhm.
also been charged. And guess what? He's 81 and he lives in Florida. Is anyone surprised by that?
Nope.
I'm not. So her
Sorry
name,
again, Florida.
yeah, sorry, Florida, but we all know.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
so her name is Jewel Parchman Langford. She was actually from Tennessee. She was
Yeah.
48 at the time of her death. And she came from a farm family in Tennessee. She was in Canada at the time of her disappearance. I guess she worked in the fitness industry,
Mhm.
but she was visiting Canada at the time that she was killed.
Yeah. She and her
She
husband
had it.
owned like a workout spa and weight loss center.
Yeah, it was called Imperial Health Spa.
Yeah.
Let's see. So she was reported missing in spring of 1975. She had recently moved to Montreal. So I don't know if like she and her husband were getting a divorce or what was going on there, but she had moved to Montreal.
Yeah. I wondered if they were like
Um,
expanding their business or,
Something, yeah, but she'd
what was
actually
up. But
moved
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Um, so the police started looking into her disappearance in May of 1975, but they never really had any leads at all.
No.
Um, and there weren't really any links between that body they found and Jewel Parchman Langford's disappearance because she was an American. It just didn't really, those wires did not cross at the
Yeah.
time. Her hands and feet were bound with neckties, and she was wrapped in scraps of fabric. And they think she was thrown from a bridge over the highway because there was some blood found on the bridge.
Mhm.
So Rodney Nichols was apparently a well-known rugby player in Montreal.
Mhm.
Uh, he he was formally charged with her homicide on September 8th of 2022, but we're just now seeing all this. Um, this was all done very quietly. There was no public statement that they had identified her, that they'd
Mhm.
identified him, nothing, until they had him.
Yeah.
He's been living in Hollywood, Florida, and there's an extradition request to get him back to Canada so that he can be charged for her murder. And he is 81 years old.
Yep.
So pretty
Yep.
interesting situation there.
Yeah.
But of course, this came from the use of DNA testing and genetic genealogy, which
Yeah.
helped to identify the victim.
Mhm.
And once they had her name, then they could go back to the missing persons file they had on her, and that's what helped them to uh, track all of this down.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. Pretty wild that 2 in a row there that
I know.
the perps are very old and are
Still
finally.
alive, yes, because so
Yeah.
many of them have been dead.
Yeah.
And her body has now been sent back to her family in the US, and they've been able to bury her, which I
Mhm.
think is just really important
Yeah.
for people. They need some kind of closure. I don't
Yeah.
know if her husband is still alive or not.
Oh, and we don't know if
Yeah,
she has
I'm not
kids.
sure.
Those were details that weren't available. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what her family situation is. I think they've been pretty quiet to protect them. But I just love DNA for the win. I love that we're to a place now with our DNA technology that we can solve cases that are as old as I am, which is 47. That's old.
for sure.
It's
Yeah,
not old at all. It just feels kind of old sometimes, but it's not old.
yeah.
I'm not actually old. I don't want to, you know. Somebody's gonna be like,
Mhm,
"What? I'm 57. Shut up." Yeah, I know.
mhm.
Just seems like a long time for someone to be missing with no resolution. Oh, Kev, I know because you're a little older than me, I think, aren't you? Or about the same age as me, anyway. You're
Yeah,
48. Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, big stuff. Uh, let's talk about the Farias case.
Oh, okay. I
Oh
have
my
that podcast
gosh.
to talk about too. So,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, you want to do that last?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's do. So this all started last week when there was this huge revelation that Rudy Farias, who had been missing since 2015, and when he was 17 that he'd gone missing, and now he would be 25, and that he was just found sleeping in front of a Houston church, and that he was really beat up, but he was, found, and it was this big miracle. And then it got weird. His mother got there kind of freaky fast and insisted on not having an ambulance take him to the hospital, but driving him herself. Uh, which, okay, if you haven't seen your kid in, all these years, okay, maybe, but still weird to
But
me that the officials would even allow that, honestly, because they're
right?
trying to
Like,
figure
wouldn't
out
the
what
police have wanted to be
happened.
the very first people to speak to him? Like,
hmm So then all of this aunt starts posting on the internet all of this information, all of this stuff. And I have some screenshots I wanted to share. So she posts, this is Bella Ninos, his aunt. We'll get there. Uh, Update, it's him. It's our Rudy. He's been found and he's alive and in the hospital right now. He will remain in the hospital for a while. Nikki Garza and I just literally left the hospital a few minutes ago after being there for most of the evening and night. Rudy is in pretty bad shape. He has cuts, soft tissue tumors, a small hole openings, and swellings on the soles of his feet, along with bruising, old and new cuts and scrapes on his body, old dry blood on his head and hair. He has very dark complexion now, almost unrecognizable. It's apparent that he's been through hell and abused. It broke our hearts to see him in this condition, and it was difficult to see him in this condition. God only knows what he has endured during this time away from home. He's expressing that he is in a lot of pain. He flinches if you try to touch him or hug him, thinking we are going to strike him. The doctor said that is normal considering what he has endured and gone through. He thinks his name is Julio Torres and that he's 14 now. He would be 25 now. The
mm,
doctors said not to correct him, just go with it for now until he can begin to receive further treatment and begin healing and recovery. It's obvious he's been through hell and he's not our same Rudy anymore. He is very thin and frail. His hands and fingers are smaller than mine and Nikki's. He's not very verbal, aside from one or two words here and there. We hope he will begin to open up more and not feel that we are out to harm him. As the doctor said, he has to learn to trust again. It's going to take some time, but with God Almighty, He will slowly begin the process of healing to help him get close to who he was before, if at all possible. We are looking into resources for him to get him the help he needs. Cue the GoFundMe. This to start this new journey he has ahead of him. It's going to be a very long road, but with love and support, we will get him there. It's truly a miracle that he's back home where he belongs. Every little thing triggers him, so we have to be cautious around him. He does not remember much, but we will know that's to be expected. I apologize for not giving an update sooner, but the hospital has Rudy anonymously. They say it's for his protection.
Mm.
This was from this Bellaninos, okay?
Mhm.
So everyone that saw this, my God, our hearts were broken. What happened to Rudy? What he had been through? What was
Yeah.
going on? How did this possibly happen to this boy? And then Bellaninos also said a little girl at the time recognized his flyer at a Fiesta grocery store and told her mom as she pointed to Rudy's flyer, "That's the boy who saved my life." According to her statement, she had been abducted by three males and they took her to a field where they were assaulting her when Rudy may have heard her screams for help. She stated to investigators that she remembers seeing him walking his dogs and he witnessed what was happening and he intervened and told her to run and not look back. But by the time she took investigators to the scene, there was no sign of Rudy, just his inhaler and his wallet. She told investigators she was going to be sold for human sex trafficking, so she believes they are who took him.
But his wallet and his inhaler were there?
And a little girl knew she was going to be sold for sex
Even knew what
trafficking,
that was?
human sex
What?
trafficking. A little bit weird.
A little
Well,
girl is not gonna use that terminology.
no. So, uh, it started to look weird. Well,
Mhm.
unfortunately, then we learned who Bella is. Bella is an alias of his mother. This wasn't an
God.
aunt posting these things. This was his mother posting these things. So then some of the neighbors started saying, wait a hot minute. That kid was missing? He's lived in this neighborhood forever. We see him all the time. He comes and hangs over at our house or out at our house. And relatives saying, he was in my backyard a while ago. A relative reporting that he saw him in 2018. So everyone's like, okay, wait a minute. What the hell is actually going on here? Mom
Right.
claiming that he is nonverbal now and in a fetal position in his hospital bed. And if anyone tries to talk to him, he can only speak a few words and then curls up in a ball and can't speak any further. So
Mm.
it's getting more and more suspicious. Well, there was a conversation that happened today. So sorry, I've got to get back to it now.
Mm.
Okay. There was a conversation that happened between his mother, Janie Santana, and Rudy and the police and a man that is a community leader in the area that kind of met as a mediator between all of them to have a conversation. Well, Rudy asked to speak with the community leader alone. And so he was granted that. I'm sure his mother was dying a thousand deaths inside.
Mhm.
So the community leader is a counselor who's named Quinnell X. So Quinnell took him aside and they had a long conversation in which Rudy explained to him that he's never been missing. He has been a prisoner of his mother's all of
Mm.
this time.
My God.
There's a lot of hard things that happened. Rudy's brother died in an accident. His father
Mm.
killed himself. Uh, there that kind of led up to the things that happened a few years before he disappeared. Turns out, no, she's been keeping him as her husband. He's also
Oh
used the
my
word slave,
God.
and he has been unable to leave all these years. It sounds like there's been some pretty prolific sexual abuse, as well as physical abuse. And she has just been lying about this boy being missing all these years. So
My
some of
God.
the neighbors didn't didn't live there when he went missing. And so they didn't even know that this kid was supposedly missing. So he was
Yeah.
occasionally would come over and hang out in their garage with their other kids and visit and stuff, and they'd had no idea. Um, he stole her car and got away, and that's how he was found. Yes, she's been drugging him. The counselor said that it sounded like she'd been drugging him with magic mushrooms or something like that, hallucinogenics, keeping him
Something that make him
really
like,
confused and discombobulated. She was even making him come to work with her and sitting in the car and waiting while she worked so she could keep an eye on him.
my God.
He said that she's forced him to sleep in the same bed all these years. And yeah, and apparently they let her take him home after that interview today. How did she go home?
How did she go home?
How did she not leave there in handcuffs? How?
Right.
He was 17 when this happened.
Well, and the
So,
abuse that he has experienced over this time
oh
is
my
horrific.
God. This poor boy needs some serious help. She's had the, dare we say, decency to pull down the GoFundMe, or maybe GoFundMe did. But people have been putting money in it right and left because the story that was told was so heart wrenching. Well, the real story is even more heart wrenching.
It is.
Trying to, she had alluded in her posts on the internet that they had to, had been told by the hospital they needed to keep this anonymous because the bad guys were probably still looking for him.
My God.
And she was the goddamn bad guy the whole time.
The whole time.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, some of her Facebook posts or social media posts have been real cringy too.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all very much focused on her and how she's the real victim here,
Oh yeah.
and about how the original GoFundMe was stolen by someone she trusted, and that
Oh
there
yes.
is no GoFundMe now and all this stuff, and I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah.
very little about him.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's been a gross whiny baby the whole time. She also has a list of
Horrific.
aliases as long as your arm.
Yeah. Well, hasn't she been doing, like, scamming people on the internet and some, like, identity fraud and some stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's been a bunch of that. Yeah, the
Mm,
grandmother, yeah, gas or gas fishing, cat fishing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's still posting in some groups as Nina. She's all over the internet. She's really something
Mhm.
else. Had multiple Facebook accounts, multiple Twitter accounts. Oh yeah,
She's
she's been
trying to control
everywhere.
this narrative.
Mhm. And yeah, grandma was living in the house. Grandma knew too. Yeah.
I mean, why was grandma participating?
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell is wrong with these people? A
Yeah.
lot,
What
clearly.
the hell is going
Yes,
on?
straight to jail.
Yeah. She should be going straight to jail. The fact that she left that interview today not arrested is beyond me.
Yep.
Yep. So sad. So our hearts are with Rudy that he
Yes.
can get the hell out of there and into some treatment. He probably needs
But
to go
how
straight
did
to a
she
residential
get to
treatment
take him
facility and
home? I mean,
yeah,
he probably needs to be in a psychiatric hospital.
exactly. He should be deemed a vulnerable adult or, something to
Yeah.
where the state can maybe take custody of him or a family member that doesn't suck. Is there one? And help her. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful. So there's tons more coming out. I mean, this started rolling out last Thursday, but this big revelation just came out today. So there's still a
Yeah.
ton coming. So I know that isn't the entire story yet. Maybe we'll never have the
No.
whole story, but that's what we know so far. So yeah, keep an eye on this one. Holy, hopefully the next thing we'll hear is that she's been arrested and charged.
Yeah. Well, I sure hope so. And that he's somewhere safe, as far away from her as
Mhm.
possible forever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, ugh, makes me sick to think about.
Oh, it is nuts. It is so sad. So sad for this kid who had everything stolen from him.
Yeah.
Including his dad and his brother, and then to be living with this psycho that was doing this stuff to him. Like all of it is just so terrible.
Yeah.
So, but Kristi,
And
you had been taking a peek at the new podcast that's just been released from some of Lori Vallow's family members.
yeah, very interesting. So the podcast is called Tylee and JJ's Silver Linings Podcast. and it is hosted by Adam Cox, who is Lori's brother, and Rex Cox, who is Lori's uncle. And they're putting out a 10 episode podcast to kind of explain from their perspective what happened. They also are trying to talk about the positives that have come out of this situation. And they were talking about the international support for the kids that has come forward and how much they appreciated that, and some things. They were kind of just starting talking about the trial a little bit in the first episode and kind of some of their experiences with Lori. And they each told some pretty interesting stories about how Lori, just didn't turn on a dime, that this happened over several years, that she, made this transition into insanity. Uh, Adam said he remembers a family party that she was having at her house, and he was there, and she kept talking to him. Oh, Connor, you're right, Rick's Connor. And yeah, he's Janice's brother. But Lori was talking to him because she'd been sending him books and podcasts and articles to read because she was trying to get their whole family into this crazy spirituality that she was in. And nobody was really into it. And people were like, nah, not really my thing. And, Adam had said, no, I haven't. It's just not really my thing. And he said that she told him that she was turning into this celestial being and that she doesn't even have to eat anymore. And I guess she said, you think I'm crazy, don't you? And he said, well, I don't know about you being crazy, but I know that that isn't true. And he said that that's the last time Lori talked to him about these beliefs and that they had been very close. And so this was a big change for him, but he just couldn't get his head around what the hell was going on with her. But the story that Rex told, and this is about his mother, who is Lori's grandmother, she's kind of, they all hold her up as the most spiritual person, um, in their family, and everybody kind of wants to be like her. And then at one point in her life, she predicted her own death and told her family members, some of her family, when she was going to die. And that she absolutely believed that, but she had just gotten married, a second marriage, and her husband wanted to know if maybe they could get an extension on that because he wanted to be married to her longer. But she led right up to that date preparing to die, and then she didn't die. She died 1 year later on that date. And so everybody in the family, I guess, really talks about her all the time and wants to, kind of wants to be spiritual like her to be able to get those kinds of revelations. Now, that's a Mormon word. That's a Mormon thing to get a revelation about something that Katie, are you muted? I think I can see you talking, but I can't hear you talking. Um,
Yep. Got muted to
um,
cough and never came back.
well, there you go. So she was having these revelations. So cue Lori, quite a while, like maybe 10 years before all this went down, Lori predicted her death. She told everybody when she was going to die. And
Interesting.
Rex said he remembers that on the day that she was supposed to die, he saw her doing her aunt's hair because she was a hairdresser.
Yeah.
And he talked to her that day, and he's like, "I thought this was going to be the day that you die. Is this really what you want to be doing when you die?" And she said, "Oh yes, helping people. That's what I always want to be doing." And then, of course, she's still alive now.
Dear
But he
God.
kind of implied that some of that came from how the family revered her grandmother and for her grandmother's
Interesting.
spirituality, which I thought was really interesting. That's the first that I've really heard of that being something that had happened before in their family. But grandma apparently had revelations.
Yeah.
So then so did Lori to be like grandma. That was really
Interesting.
interesting. So it's an interesting podcast. They're doing a good job. I would say, Rex, if you're listening, you're probably not, but you have a real problem with mouth popping. It's that popping, smacking noise that our mouths make when you're dry.
Mhm.
And he needs to drink a lot of water before and during his podcast because that was tough to listen to.
Mhm.
Some people actually have a phobia to those mouth sounds and will not listen to any audio that has that kind of
Mhm.
popping in it, and it's all through. So they're doing a good job. I think that they're trying to just explain it from their own standpoint. I mean, they're also trying to make sure that nobody thinks that this is because of them or their family, I think is another
Mhm.
part of it. But they also want to share their experiences with this. They're writing a book and they're
Mhm.
using the uh oh no, yeah, you hate those mouth sounds, right, Rick? When I heard that, I was like, oh, Rex, you got to fix that.
Mhm.
Um, but they're using the podcast as kind of the way to flesh out their book. They're doing
Mhm.
7 episodes now, and then they're going to wait and do 3 after her sentencing. So it's a 10 episode series.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about, from their own standpoint, what they've seen with her over the years and who she used to be versus who she is now, and how
Mhm.
JR hates that too. Yep, yep. That's when I heard it. I was like, uh-oh, you probably don't know. Money grab? I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's on Spotify. It's probably monetized. They can make a little bit of money off from it. It's not a lot.
No.
But they may make some, and maybe they have a book deal. I don't know, but they say they are writing a book. It's possible. They're pretty sincere, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, and it's nice because we haven't heard, other than from Summer and Colby, we really haven't heard much from her family.
Mhm.
And I think it's good to hear from them and them seeing this spiral for her.
Mhm. Oh, they said
Yeah,
the money will go to charity. Sure. Good.
yeah, yeah. I
Good
don't think they're trying to make
or
money. I
not.
think they're trying to make something good out of what happened.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Tylee and JJ's Silver Linings.
Yeah.
They're trying to do some
Yeah.
good things. So I don't know. Check it out.
Mhm.
I listened to it on Spotify. I think it's on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's certainly worth watching because it's a perspective we have not heard a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah. I to be honest, I wouldn't care if the money didn't go to charity. This family's been to hell and back. I don't care what they
They
do
have.
with it. Yeah.
I wish they would help Colby with it. To be perfectly honest, I mean he's
Yeah.
one of the most victimized people in this situation.
Most definitely. Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's an interesting insight about grandma, though.
I know. I thought that was very interesting because getting revelation is a thing in Mormons, and I know it is in other religions as well, but that is a thing that kind of is elevated. And so there's an element of that
Coveted. Yeah.
in that story or
Mhm.
and just in her story altogether, that yeah, that is a thing that Mormons really do look up to.
Oh, you bet. Yep, that's a big deal. Interesting stuff. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, there you go. We
Hmm.
went a little over our prescribed time, but that's okay. There was just a lot
When
to
don't
talk
we?
about today. Yeah. So, we'll be back next week with content.
Yeah, yeah, we will. We're off
However,
vacation now.
if you're on Patreon, we put out 2 kick-ass Patreons last week.
We did.
One show that is 6 different times that men were killed or there was attempted murder due to their testicles. But you'll have to watch it to understand.
We learned some
However,
stuff we never knew.
no, no, and frankly should be taught in self-defense classes everywhere.
I think so.
But also, Kristi, you did an update on the Menendez brothers that was very thought provoking. So if you're a
Yeah.
patron, go check those out. If you're not, it is very cheap to be a patron and be a part of that inner true crime squad. And you can just
Hmm.
do that by going over to Patreon and looking for our Patreon, or you can go to truecrimesquad.com and find it through there too. So
Hmm.
easy enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Revelations, no. Sometimes. Jenny asked if they're the same as dreams. They could be, but not necessarily. They could be more like a daydream or just a message that you feel like you received.
Yeah, it's a message from
A
God,
vision.
however it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You guys are the best. Thanks so much. I hope you all had a good and safe week and that it continues to be peaceful in your realms wherever you are.
Mhm.
And take
Yes.
care. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.